In this video, we're going to cover the basics of creating a contour drawing so that you can further use it to fill in with your color blocks and then digitally paint it. So one of the first things that you really want to do is you want to make sure that you can clearly see the details as well as the highlights and shadows. For this design, I'm going to, I created a adjustment layer so I can make it black and white, so that I don't have to worry about all the different changes in color. If you have different changes in color and you're doing a color digital painting, then it might be a good idea to leave the color on so that you can change anytime the color changes. Next thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to create a new layer. And on this layer, you should name it contour. Then select a brush tool and choose an arbitrary color. So I'm choosing bright red so that it shows out. If you were maybe painting a red apple, it might be a good idea to choose something like a light blue so that you know exactly where your lines are and they're not getting lost, because we're going to hide this later anyways. When you create your contour drawing, what your aim is to give yourself a blueprint, because you're going to hide this anyways. So you want to make sure that you get all edges, and not just the edges that's the outside, but you want to get the edges that also dictate where one color changes to another, or one light changes into a midtone, or a midtone into a shadow, or any specific details. So first off, I'm going to focus on my edge contour. And you can see I'm trying to be pretty accurate, but I'm not going too crazy off of this. It depends on how accurate you need. And I might have to invent some, just like I'm doing down here at the bottom, because I just want to paint this apple and not the rest of the background. If you need it more detailed, you can always zoom in and get those portions. Now, contour is the edge between where one object ends or where one light becomes dark. So right now I just got the edge contours. And if I wanted to, I could change colors. I'm going to, so you can better understand what I'm talking about. But now I think I'm going to try to find like the shadow contours. And this is the edge between one dark area and one light area. And I'm just approximating. Sometimes it's very clear and you can tell exactly where that edge is, and other times it's not so clear. And I just have to get the closest that I can. So you can see that I'm getting mostly my shadows, my deepest core shadows, as well as shadows within other objects. And then I can get midtones. So I'll put core shadow. And you guys don't have to label these unless it helps you to recognize where they are. But I'm going to, so you know. So this will be my midtones. So I can tell where my middle light parts are. I probably should have gotten these ones. And if it just ends, sometimes that's okay. But it's best to get enclosed areas so you know exactly how far you are putting one color into another. These are kind of far. There's kind of like two levels of midtones. And I'll put them both in. I'm putting them both roughly the same, with the same lines, because I'm still going to use this as a reference later. I'm using the actual picture as my reference for where I'm putting specific colors. Kind of a little dark thing right there. How detailed you get this is going to help you dictate where you put specific lights and darks or textures. So you can see that I have my midtones, and I'm going to break down some highlights now. Let's do this with kind of this yellow. So I know I have my like brightest spot right there. There's a big spot over here. And I'm not just randomly doing this. I'm trying to find the shape that they actually are, so that I have an idea of where I'm putting in these different colors. Really bright spot right there, some that are up here. And then the last bit of information that you need to really think about is things like textures and patterns. So all these little details here that are important for you to get so that you can get accurate detail. And this might be too big. I might have had to resize my brush so that I can get those a little bit quicker. But remember, this is just a reference for you. With these little markings. I like these dark spots. I like these textures that are on the apple itself. Now you can see I have a relatively accurate design of an apple. And I can use that as a reference for where I'm going to color pick and then start filling in. Remember, we're looking for something that's like a coloring book. The more coloring book like it is and the more accurate the detail, the easier it's going to be to fill those in and to replicate the design that we want to.